So you've decided to start a free 45-day trial of Simple and Out. Welcome. We're happy that you're here. This video is just to help you get started with a few tips and tricks on how to get started getting the most out of Simple and Out. We have a plethora of help videos covering all of the topics we're going to cover now and a lot more in depth with a lot more details than we're going to gloss over here. But we just thought a great video here to show you the few things you should probably take a look at or do just to get started to get the most use out of Simple and Out as fast as you can. So right here, we're on our Welcome to our free trial page, which is great. We are about ready to embark on our adventure. Let's start by looking at some settings first. So if I come up here to the upper right, I'm going to click Settings. Now, once I'm in the settings page here, this is my personal information, but we can go ahead and we can look down the left-hand side, and you can see Simple and Out has a lot of features and a lot of ways to customize its behavior so that it works the way you work. But we're going to focus on a couple of things right off the gate that make the most amount of sense to get started. First, what we're going to do is we're going to click on Company Settings here on the left. Now, there's a bunch of company settings in here, but the one I want to draw your attention to immediately is this Master Switch for Features. Now, feature switches in Simple and Out, in this case, we only have one here right now. These are for the ability to turn an entire feature in Simple and Out completely on or completely off. In this case, it involves a feature we call scheduled statuses. Scheduled statuses are a way for your users to be able to schedule a status update for the future. Say they know they're going to be on vacation next Monday. They could schedule that at 8 a.m. next Monday. They're automatically changed to out on the in-out board with a comment of on vacation, and that will work out just great. People can see it, people can do that. But not everybody is going to want a feature like that. Maybe you're using Simple and Out for payroll or timekeeping, something where you don't want your users scheduling that they're going to be in. You want to know that they were actually in. So Simple and Out does have a lot of permissions that you can use to choose which users can and cannot do this. We're going to touch on permissions a little bit here in a second. But for now, if you don't want this feature, you can entirely disable it just by clicking this switch. For now, I'm going to leave it on, but it's worth pointing out. The next feature I'd like to point out is something called roles. So when you go ahead and you add your users, I clicked on roles here on the left, you're going to have to choose what permissions your users have. By default, as you can see, Simple and Out starts you off with a few roles. The most important role is the role you are a member of yourself. That is the administrator role. The administrator role is a special role, and you must always have at minimum at least one user in the administrator role. Administrators are the ones who can delete and add new users. They're the ones that can turn on or change most of these company-wide settings that we're looking at right now. So you're an administrator, and we have some other roles for other users. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on one of these. And you can see that we have a lot of different permission switches. And again, I'm not going to touch on all of these. We do have a much more in-depth video on roles that you can check out where we go through every one of these. But for now, just know that there are all these levers. So you can start with our roles. You can create your own roles. You can rename our roles. You can also change our roles. So you can change them. They're just starter roles for you. If it makes more sense for you to give or take away permissions per these roles, you can absolutely do that. And you can even go so far as to delete these roles if you wish, as long as you are not allowed to delete the administrator role. A note about administrators too. You can have as many administrators in Simple and Out as you wish, as long as you at minimum at least have one. Why that's important is because if you were ever to leave your organization, who is left to be able to administer your Simple and Out account? So we do encourage people to have more than one administrator if your company permits, just in case somebody leaves or is on vacation and somebody needs to come in and do something in Simple and Out. So worth pointing out. So that's roles. Again, much more detail available. In fact, you can click this help video right here to see more details on roles. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at groups. So groups in Simple and Out are just a great way to organize your users. What we'll see on the board in a minute is that your board can be sorted by groups. It can be restricted to only showing certain groups at a time. You can also use groups to make more sense out of Simple and Out's various reports. So you don't have to use groups, of course. This is an optional feature, but in this case, well, let's just go ahead and add a group. So let's add a group, and we're going to call this group let's just say it's my overnight employees. Now, right now, I don't have anybody to add to this group, so I'm just going to click Save and just create this empty group. And you'll see in a little bit that when we go to add users, having this group is going to be helpful. Again, we have a help video right here that covers groups more in depth. Okay, so we've touched on roles, we've touched on groups. Let's go ahead and let's touch on quick picks. So quick picks are a great way to make some of the common statuses that your people might use for updates a little bit more accessible. When you create a company-wide quick pick, which is what these are, they'll be available to your users on the Simpln Out board on the web, within our phone apps, within our desktop apps. They'll be available everywhere your users are. And so the great thing about these is they can really cut down on the amount of time it takes for your users. And if it cuts down on their time, they're more likely to make updates. So let's go ahead and let's add a couple of company quick picks real quick. So I'm going to hit add, and I'm going to say one of the company quick picks we might have in my phony Rogers IT services company was we might have a Monday meeting. So I'm going to say in the Monday meeting. And then let's go ahead and let's add another common one. Maybe we have a common out one for at lunch. That's something that happens a lot. And then maybe we're going to have another common out one for vacation. And then maybe we'll have one more common out one, and we'll say done for the day. Okay, so I'm going to hit update. So now these quick picks will be available for everyone in your organization. Again, we have another video here that highlights quick picks a little bit more. I'm going to click on my company's name in the upper left here. And when I do that, I come back to the in-out board, which of course I'm the only member of right now. But you'll see those company quick picks we added are right here available for me to utilize here with just a simple click. In on Monday meeting, now I'm in at the Monday meeting. And my quick picks are my own quick picks that happen based on my own activity and ones that I favored over time. Again, we have another video on quick picks that explains this in more detail. Go ahead and check that out. Okay, so we covered that. We covered all of those things. Let's go ahead and cover a little bit more of an advanced topic first. Let's go talk about automatic updates. So I'm clicking on settings over here again. Automatic updates in Simpln Out is among our most popular features, where we can automatically update a user to in or out based on things they're doing in the real world. Things like carrying your phone around into common areas that we're aware of, or doing things like using one of our desktop apps and monitoring a computer's activity while the app is running. So these are great ways to automatically update your status. I'm going to click on geofences down here in the left. Now, of course, we have a video on geofences. In fact, we have 2 videos on geofences because it's among our most popular topics. I'm not going to cover a lot of what's going on with geofences today, except to say that if you do want to allow your users to automatically update from their phone, geofences are a great place to start. And as the administrator, it's your job to create the geofence, to create the rules that the geofence operates under. And then once you've gone ahead and done that, then the user themselves will choose whether or not they decide to turn that geofence on their phone within the Simpln Out app. So a lot of times when you're getting started, you might want to create your geofence if you want users to have that feature. And that way, when the user starts, they're going to have all of that stuff in place for them. So let's go ahead and create a geofence because we're gonna do that in this trial. So the first thing we do when we add a geofence, I have to give this geofence a name. I'm going to call it the office. And then I'm going to need to figure out where the heck this is. So maybe, let's see, let's just go ahead and type in Google Maps. So let's just go ahead and pick maybe the mall. Maybe there's a mall around here. Hey, GameStop. Okay, sure. So we're just going to place this in this area here. We'll just say that our IT services department is located right here. Okay, so we can go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to click create. And that's all there is to it. Now, we can click on this and there are more advanced features. Again, you can check out other help videos that we have for tutorials on how to manage your geofences. But for now, we have a geofence, which means if our users get started, they would have this option in their phone if they have permission to update their own current status to be able to utilize geofences, which is pretty great. Okay, now that we've covered all of those things, let's cover the big one, which is adding your users. Because of course, a Simpln Out board is only useful if you have other users on the board with you. So I'm going to click again up here on my company name, which always returns me to the simple in-out board. And once I'm on this in-out board, as I can see, I'm still the only one here, but let's go ahead and add ourselves some other users. Now, it's worth noting that when you add other users, they're going to receive an email welcoming them to your Simple In-Out board. And then it will give them a link to choose their password to get started. So the user will choose their own password and begin. When they follow that link through and they choose their password, they'll be able to go ahead and see the board, make status updates if you allow, all of those things going on. The other thing that's worth noting is in that email is going to be some links to phones, and we're going to end there after we go through Add User. But we try to get the user started by getting them links to the different apps to make their lives a little easier. So you can add users by single. You can add multiple users at once via just putting them in comma delimited and let them edit their name and details later. And you can also invite users. If you have a lot of users to add, invites are the way to go. You can create a URL and just send it to your people, and then they click on the URL, invite themselves in, set up all their information, and that gets you out of adding users one by one yourself. For now, we're going to just go ahead and add a single user just to show you how this works. So let's say this is going to be Susan, we'll say, and everybody needs an email. In this case, I'm just going to use my email alias. Now, details in Simple In-Out is just a catch-all field you can use for anything. Titles, shipped information, but it's also optional. In this case, I'm just going to leave it empty. And then here are roles. Again, every user needs to have a role. So earlier we were talking about roles. You can choose which role this user is. And if you ever have any confusion about what this role allows, we have this handy eye icon over here you can click, and it will tell you everything the user can do and everything the user cannot do. So that's very handy. For now, I'll just leave this on regular. Pick the user's language. This will default to your language, but if you know the user is speaking a different language, you can toggle that for them. And then here's that groups field that we were talking about earlier. So now you can go ahead and you can add this user to many groups. In this case, I'm going to add this user to our overnight employees group. And then we can add phone numbers for the user if we wish as well. I'm not going to do that. And then, of course, we don't have to pick a password. So now that I click Create Users, you'll notice I'm no longer the only one on the in-out board. Hooray! We now have Susan on the in-out board with us. And Susan starts out, and now, of course, Susan will get that email inviting her to start using Simple In-Out. And when she does, we'll start to see her status updates right on the in-out board here as well. Okay, last thing to get you started in Simple In-Out. You're going to want to use probably some of our apps. All of our apps in Simple In-Out are free downloads in their respective app stores. So you can download the apps. You can use as many as you wish or as few as you wish to get the job done. And we don't charge based on the number of apps that you download and install. And that's very important to know. So we encourage people to download our apps. So all the way down here on the bottom in our footer, we have platforms. And if you click on platforms, you can see more information about the various apps that we have in our arsenal, as well as download links that take you directly to the store in question. So if you have an iPhone, here's the link you want to click on. And if you have an Android phone, or if you have maybe a BlackBerry device, you can get that through the Amazon App Store as well. And this covers our phone apps. This covers our desktop apps. This covers our website, which of course you don't need to download anything for that. And we even have apps for televisions, which you can get on the Google Play stores. And then, of course, we have 2 tablet applications, Front Desk, and which allows for seeing the board as well as swiping your users in and out as they come and go. And then we also have Time Clock, which is great for more secure situations where you want to scan a badge to check yourself in and out. And it also works great in a touchless environment if you have to worry about anything like that. So download these apps, give them a go. They enhance the Simple In-Out experience. So those are some great ideas to get started with Simple In-Out. Again, you should check out our other help videos. If you click on Help here in the upper right, that'll take you to our Help Center where we have frequently asked questions as well as our email support button. We answer emails in minutes and hours, not days and weeks, and we answer all of our own emails ourselves. So you're always getting expert advice and answers to your questions if you click this email support link. We also have webinars if you want to do a webinar. And then we have help videos. We have a ton of help videos covering all the topics we talked about now, as well as a lot more topics. We also have some great getting started PDFs you can download here They're great for just being able to read through a couple pages long. They're also great for distributing to your team or even printing off and providing to your team so that they know what the Simple and Out board thing is about. So use this help center. Check out a lot of these videos. If you get stuck anywhere along the way, go ahead and send us an email. We're here to help. Hope you love Simple and Out as much as we love building it, and have a great day.